hijack airplanes and ram them into buildings.
Well, that's not so. As a matter of fact, even Al-Qaeda reports from the CIA back in the mid-90s indicated that they intended to take a plane and ram it into the Eiffel Tower in Paris.
And Murad had discussed with Youssef the possibility of crashing a plane into an American government building.
He will board any American commercial aircraft pretending to be an ordinary passenger. He will hijack said aircraft, control its cockpit and dive it at the CIA headquarters. It is simply a suicidal mission that he is willing to execute.
There's no question that the Intelligence Committee and the Congress and the administration had reason to suspect that hijackings were a possibility. I don't think anybody knew that it would possibly be used as a missile aimed into a high-rise building.
There's suspicious activity there, and the handwritten notes of at least one FBI agent indicated that they were speculating, they were brainstorming. They said, well, maybe this guy's out to ram a plane into the World Trade Center. You kind of put all that together and you start to get a picture.
There was no time, there was no place, there was no method of attack. It simply said these are people who train and seem to talk possibly about hijackings. And had this president known of something more specific or known that a plane was going to be used as a missile, he would have acted on it.
The vice president deciding to add a paragraph to his speech, echoing those comments from Dr. Rice, saying any suggestion that this president had any specific knowledge about the September 11th attack is ludicrous.
I remember being on the radio in the late 1990s and seeing reports every year of plans by Al-Qaeda to fly hijacked jet airliners into landmarks like the Capitol, CIA headquarters, the World Trade Center, the Sears Tower in Chicago. So when I saw George Bush on television saying they had never heard of plans to hijack aircraft, and then the news came out that they had gotten the actual plans that Al-Qaeda was planning to do that, so he said, okay, well, we never knew they'd fly them into buildings. And I'm like, excuse me, I probably saw 20, 30 reports that I covered on air, mainstream, years before September 11th, where Al-Qaeda was planning just these type of events. Of course, I didn't know that Al-Qaeda was training at secure U.S. military bases. That later came out, but it's just been swept under the rug. This is CNN. U.S. warned in 95 of plot to hijack planes, attack buildings. Why, even in the Genoa, Italy summit a year before September 11th, I remember they had anti-aircraft guns on top of their buildings there. And they said, oh, Al-Qaeda's got a plan to fly planes into buildings. They just arrested a couple of them, they said on the news, before September 11th, in Paris, with plans to fly to the Eiffel Tower. But here in America, we still have guns. We still have private property. We still have some sovereignty. And we're giving them a heck of a fight when it comes to defending this republic. People are standing up against Big Brother, so they had to carry this out. Here's another one. Fox News. U.S. knew of suicide hijack plan threat in 1995 from Ramzi Yousef, who was caught trying to carry out attacks in the Philippines on aircraft taking off, flying to the U.S. And I interviewed police and FBI agents who were involved in busting this guy before September 11th. And they said an attack on America was right around the corner. In fact, later, in a few minutes, we'll show you a clip of myself on my local TV show, just an average show, a little bit disheveled, been working hard, just up there warning the people that the government was going to allow a terrorist attack and that they were going to use their CIA asset, Osama bin Laden. I went into even more detail on my radio show. I put out the phone numbers for the White House, for Congress. I said, call them. Don't let them use their assets to attack us as a pretext for control. Here's another one. Bush told of threat before September 11th. London Guardian. And again, I've got like 50 reports on this story. Bush told of threat before September 11th. But how many times did they tell you, after they knew all these reports were out, that they never heard of such a thing? They're lying to you. Here's another one. Associated Press. Bush warned of hijack threat before September 11th. What more do you need? Well, don't worry. There's a lot more coming up. Bush knew of hijack threat and did nothing. You're going to learn he actually signed a document ordering the FBI not to stop Al-Qaeda. threatening dozens of senior FBI agents from Arizona to Chicago to Minnesota to Florida to D.C. to Boston not to stop al-Qaeda, not to stop known members of bin Laden's CIA organization. Oh, you doubt me? Go to the microfilm at your local library, type in Osama bin Laden, 1985. You'll see Wall Street Journal articles, Washington Post articles about how wonderful bin Laden is and how he loves the Bushes and how they vacation together. Oh, yeah, that came out in a FBI press conference, by the way, the Bushes, Judicial Watch press conference with FBI agents about how the Bushes like to vacation with bin Laden.
And in particular, this Bush administration, who is as tight with Saudi Arabia as you can get. The President's father used to stay with the bin Laden family when he would go to Saudi Arabia.
But here it is, folks. Bush knew of hijack threat, CBS News. Hijackers trailed by CIA before attacks. You see, not only did they know the attack was coming and do nothing, well, he didn't just do nothing. Bush actually, proactively signed an order ordering FBI not to stop him. He did do something. He proactively made sure they attack us. They also had the CIA follow al-Qaeda out of the country to a Malaysian summit in Malaysia and follow them back into the country. They were having trouble getting back in. The members of al-Qaeda, the CIA pressured the head of the embassy to get them visas to get back into the country. London Guardian. And again, for every report I'm showing you, there's 20 others backing this up. And the government never denied this. This got leaked by Congress, by some patriots in Congress, and so now they're threatening to arrest members of Congress if they don't shut up and stop leaking this. Hijackers were trailed by CIA before attacks. Let me just read from this. 2 of the hijackers who crashed American Airlines Flight 77 in the Pentagon were spotted as potential terrorists by the CIA more than 18 months before September 11th. Newsweek reported yesterday. It called this the most puzzling and devastating intelligence failures in the period before the attacks. The magazine reports they followed them out and followed them back in to Los Angeles and did nothing with the information. Yeah, actually helped them get back in. Another one, MSNBC. The hijackers we let escape. The CIA tracked 2 suspected terrorists of al-Qaeda summit in Malaysia in January 2000, then looked on as they re-entered America and began preparations for September 11th. And they call this the worst intelligence failure. Bush went to the CIA. A lot of you saw this on television. Everybody thought, ooh, he's going to fire somebody. He went to the CIA. They stood around the Eagle there on the Marble. 3-minute standing ovation. They were smiling. They were celebrating because they get to act domestically now. They get to run your local departments. They get to get into all the fun and be mob bosses over us now, folks. Total degeneracy, total tyranny. Unbelievable. MSNBC. The hijackers we let escape. Does that not infuriate you? 99 Report warned of suicide hijack plan. U.S. government plan. Put out a report saying that Osama bin Laden was preparing to fly hijacked jet airliners into the World Trade Center, CIA headquarters, the Capitol. The list goes on and on. That's the Associated Press. Unheeded warnings. FBI agent's notes pointed to possible World Trade Center attack. He was told to shut up by superiors. MSNBC. But they always tell you, oh, it was just an accident. Just an accident. And it says these FBI agents joked. That's the headline. But I've talked to FBI agents in person. They weren't joking when they said, it's like al-Qaeda runs the FBI. And I said to him over the phone, I said, it isn't like al-Qaeda runs the FBI. The FBI, through the CIA and the big central banks that founded the CIA, read your history books, they run al-Qaeda. Get the full horror straight in your minds. Bush held up plan to hit bin Laden. You know, they had battle plans on their desk. They had tens of thousands of U.S. and British troops massing publicly in Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. I say publicly, I mean, it was out in the foreign press, but total news blackout here. They were doing it covertly, but it was still out publicly in the foreign press to invade Afghanistan. And Bush held up plan to hit bin Laden. He had it on his desk 2 days before already, and had already signed it, but wasn't to be released till September 12th. U.S. plan for an attack on al-Qaeda. White House given strategy 2 days before September 11th. Again, MSNBC. But they say, oh, it's all just a big accident, a big coincidence. Yeah, wait. We haven't even gotten to the information yet.